Cooks, my man, how's it going?
Hey, Ryan. Hey, Keith. All good this side.
I'm
So good to join you guys again.
Lekker, lekker. I don't really want to ask Keegan how it's going because I think it's going much better with him than it
Life's
is
good
with
at the
us.
moment, yo. Lads. Life's fucking good at the moment. I can't complain. Really can't complain.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm depressed as fuck after this weekend because the Western Province didn't play rugby. Conor McGregor got his ass whooped, and our beloved Frank Lampard got fired. So yeah,
Yes,
not my
and
week.
I'll take the Sharks one. So I'm very happy about that. So at least I've got that positive. That still that high still keep me going. I won't think about the Bulls until tomorrow, until Friday. That'll give me stress. But at least Chelsea won on Sunday, but they lost Frank Lampard. So yeah, I'm still reeling from that, and then nervous for today 8:00.
Yep. Gigs, how was your weekend, buddy? And be nice, otherwise I'll mute you.
Fuck, it was a great weekend, lads. Like, fucking fantastic. Started off with actually it started off shit with fucking Province deciding not to play rugby in their final game at Newlands. So it started off a little depressing, and then it just got better from there. It was fantastic to see McGregor get knocked the fuck out, like I was telling everyone. It was beautiful. And then things just got better. That team, that other red team down the road from us or whatever, they saw themselves out of a cup. So it was good. It was good.
Can't
complain.
So, yeah, I think we might as well start with the rugby, seeing as that was the first sort of action of the weekend. I actually watched both of the games, which people who know me would know that doesn't happen often. I'm not a big rugby guy.
I say lies because I wanted to actually see you in front of a TV before. I want to see the evidence of you watching both games.
No, you can ask Bucky's. He was here with me, so I did watch. I thought, to be honest, I thought the Bulls were lucky in a way because I thought they played quite shit. But unfortunately, the Lions were just even more shit. I don't think I've seen anybody give away the amount of penalties that they have in that game. What did you guys think of that game?
I mean, the Bulls game, I think the Bulls are, what do you call it? Like, they look like a team, they look like a polished side. Or like, when a team is so good, like, they just turn it on when they need to. So it's like they're keeping the Lions at bay the whole time. Like, yeah, like you guys can have the ball. You keep running us. And then, like, as soon as they got one chance, they get 7 points. And then the Lions will keep the ball again and make mistakes, and the Bulls will go down to the Lions half 3 points. And I just thought they just kept. When Bulls pulled away, I think early in the second half, I think the game was finished, and I think they sort of also took the foot off the gas and they took Morning's Day off, took most of for the final. So I just think it just felt like a bit the Bulls were in cruise mode. They especially at the end of the game, allowed the Lions to come back in. I think. Obviously, with the Lions, though, like I think they came into that game looking to try and run the ball, and there's so many knock-ons. That was the frustrating, like so many knock-ons, so many penalties, and they should have shot themselves in the foot. But yeah, I just think the Bulls were. I think that they didn't get out of gear 3 because they didn't need to get out of gear 3. To be honest with you, that's how I saw the game.
I suppose it's before we hear Keegan's thoughts. I suppose it's almost like what they say with your good teams and your great teams, and I know Man United used to be like that for a long time. Is even on their off day, they still manage to get the wins.
Yeah,
and I think that's always been a sign of a great team.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm quite pissed off at the Bulls game, to be honest with you, because I had some fucking money on the handicap, and that injury time try blew my handicap. So I had some nice dosh on the line, like comfortable winning this thing, and then they allowed 8 phases towards the end and allowed the fucking try in the corner. And I was like, like a minute before that, they had the opportunity and they decided to run the ball, and I think it was a scrum knock on. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Just kick the goddamn ball out. You don't need more points. You're winning the game already. And then,
sorry, Keeks, here's a quick question from Bucky's, asking if it's just him or is the quality of SA rugby really cuck at the moment?
I've seen so many of these questions going around, and I would like to say that it's not great, but also the fuck did we expect, to be honest with you, with our layoff compared to everyone else? The CEO of the Sharks wrapped it up quite nicely, actually. I thought he had a tweet going out saying, out of this whole campaign, I think since Super Rugby unlocked or unloaded or whatever the whole, teams have not been able to even train together, full out. Like they've had half the group in training and then another half the group in training. So they haven't it's been very tough to deal with things. It's been tough for continuity. It's been very tough to get used to all of this. And I think our restrictions are still very, very, very strict compared to the protocols and that New Zealand's going through, where they could have their full squads training all the time. So, yes, I agree the rugby's been shit and the quality's been shit, but I also think we've got to also take it as face value and how much, what has the preparations actually been like for these teams? And is this just possibly the best that they could do under the current situations? I think that's also something we got to look at.
No, 100%. I agree with you. I think the preparation, and it's not normal circumstances. So it's not normal times. It's not normal situations where where it's just like, if this was like in the Super Rugby, normal Super Rugby, then I'll be a lot more worried. But for me, it just goes like, I think it's you're taking players who are out for 4 or 5 months, not training at all at home. No one knew what the competitions were going to be, what was going to happen. Are the Boks playing this year? Are they not playing? What's happening? So then you throw together a competition, and then there's new signings in there. Some teams have lost players, so it's like trying to figure that out and then and then try to figure that out, and then you still got to play rugby. Obviously, the quality hasn't been as great. I think that some of the games have been hard to watch, but I look at it like it's not normal circumstances. I mean, like you said, some games get called off on COVID on a Wednesday, then there's no games, and some teams go 2 weeks without playing a rugby match. You can't train because there's 1 week, you know what I mean? If there's COVID in the group, the teams don't train for 2 weeks or 10 days. There's no practice at all. So it's like, and you're gonna come back the next week and then play rugby. So I just think as the comment at the bottom said, rather shit rugby than no rugby. At least there is some rugby on. I think, but I think it is a bit frustrating. But I think I just think we'll judge it in a normal year. It's easier to judge when everything is normal.
I also feel that, especially compared to New Zealand and Australia, if you look at their COVID numbers and everything, I mean, they're doing a lot better than South Africa is doing. And I think a lot of people don't understand that there's also just the pure stress of COVID, family members getting COVID or possibly getting COVID, and the continuous possibility that you as a player could get it. And I know in a normal working environment that adds a lot of stress to people. And obviously it would as well for sportsmen and women. And I think that's 100%. Also something that a lot of people don't always take into account.
Yeah, and there's no crowds as well. There's no vibes in the stadium. I know people compare a lot to they look at the New Zealand Super Rugby Aotearoa. I mean, they had full houses there. I mean, it was almost back, it was back to normal. So it's like just sides had trained together for 4 weeks before. They spent 4 weeks just on their own doing a camp. So you go in and there's no crowds. I mean, I know the crowd numbers have struggled, but imagine how full it would have been on Saturday. Last game at Newlands. It would have been packed. It would have been a full house. That makes a world of difference to the players. That picks you up because there's a vibe at the stadium. Now it sort of feels like you're going to a corpus night match just against opposition at the stage.
So speaking about Western Province, Jade obviously 100% correct, saying that the that Province weren't fantastic. And I'll leave the technical sort of analysis to the two of you. But one thing that I really struggled with in that game is the fact that we all knew it was the last game at Newlands. And I know there's no crowd and all of that to help the players along. But fucking hell, if you look the way they played and just the effort they seem to have put in and the lack of passion, you wouldn't say that it was the last game at Newlands. And I was really hoping for just a bit more fight and a bit more passion and just showing that they actually realize the magnitude of the fact that it's not only a semi-final but also the last fucking game at Newlands.
Yeah,
I think
I agree with you there. I was a little like
I just
upset.
think,
Sorry, I'm sorry, breaking up on my side as well.
Sorry. I get where you're coming from, Ryan. But I think the funny thing is when I watched the game, I actually thought that Western Province showed more intent with ball than the Sharks at times. I think the Sharks obviously they took their chances, got a few penalties and all of that, but I thought Western Province showed a little bit more intent. Looked like they were trying to play, and I think obviously just things weren't coming off. By no means, it wasn't a spectacle on Saturday. It wasn't. I wouldn't watch that game again, to be honest with you. So it's like like I said, like it was not a tough watch, but it's like you don't watch. I wouldn't say it was a classic either, but I thought Province did show a little bit more intent than the Sharks. I thought both sides, to be honest with you, I didn't think both sides weren't too great. If I look at them compared to the Bulls, I think the Bulls do look like the class of the competition, and both sides look like some distance behind. But listen, you never know what happens in a final. But I think it sort of felt like both sides weren't too great. I think it was a tough watch. It was a tough watch. I do love the fact that that the Sharks won the last game in Newlands. I can be a happy man forever on that note.
Obviously, you're gonna love that. Just again, I 100% agree with Jade again here, in the sense that it's not. I don't mind losing, and I felt the same about Chelsea the last month, 2 months. Is I don't mind losing, but fucking hell, the players need to just look like they actually want to be there. And I think that's a feeling I got from Province. Is I didn't feel that they wanted to be there and really wanted to play in this historic match.
I think a lot's got to do with the background noise. I mean, we all know that the board's in a bit of a shambles.
Yeah.
And I don't think we had this chat in a rugby group of ours, and someone brought it up. Sharky actually brought it up that it's got a lot to do with a lot of those players don't really want to be there. They don't seem like they want to be at that union in that mess. And you can almost see it on the faces of a lot of those players. They just don't that whole like behind that whirlwind in the boardroom and the infighting the whole time. You can just see some of them have just had enough. It's almost like that's knocked the wind out of them. There's no love for the jersey anymore because of the chaos and that's happening behind the scenes. And there was a lot of senior players vocal about things, saying how they wanted change and how they wanted things to change, and it was just it fell on deaf ears at the end of the day. So
I think it was also very bad timing, especially seeing that we played against the Sharks with firstly that big investment that fell through and ended up going to the Sharks, the Rock Nation sponsorship, which now supposedly opens the door for Kulisi to leave to the Sharks, and all of this while playing against the Sharks. I think that timing was also very bad.
No, 100%. I think, but Keegan, there's so much outside noise that's been happening around Western Province. I think you read more about them in the front pages and the back pages these days, especially the last year or two. And I think it does play an effect. And then on top of it, it's because the whole time it was, are we moving? Are we not moving? What's happening? Are we going to the Cape Stadium? What's happening with the board? Do we have money? Can we get new players in? There's been a lot that's been happening besides the whole Rock Nation thing, which now half the time you're reading is your captain leaving? Is this Khaleesi's last game for Province? What's going on? Is he going to the Sharks? That's his, like, it's all that outside noise, and on top of it, and I just think, as I look at the, like I said, for me the Province showed a lot more. They showed some intent whenever they got ball in hand. I just think it was just errors, things that didn't come off for them, and I think that's been pretty much their season. You know, I think they've shown glimpses. Especially, I look at like last year's Super Rugby. They've shown glimpses of how good they can be, and they have the players. And even this Currie Cup, they've shown glimpses of the rugby they can play. And it's like I said, I even compare them to the Sharks, who's also, Sharks haven't been great the last couple of weeks, since COVID. They've been stop start, and I think it's obviously with Province, there's so much happening there, and I just really hope, because it's such a great union, that they're able to sort out the mess in the background.
I think we were having a chat, and funny enough, I was chatting with Sharky and Jared and everyone. Jared Wright on Twitter. We've got a little WhatsApp group and everyone, and we were chatting and saying it's almost like they need a bit of a reset, Province. We need to see like when the Lions did that reset when Ackerman took over. There was a new board that came on board. Like the board got fixed at the Lions. They had an idea on where the project had to go and what they had to do. They got Ackerman in, made a few very like shrewd signings, some good signings, had some their best players out of the academy was coming into play into the team. It's like Province needs that for Cape Town Stadium now. Like if the Union's going to really try and get back to where they were and really try and fix things, they're going to need a top to bottom. And I know some people aren't happy with it, but I think the whole lot's got to go. I think there's got to be obviously new board. I would want a new coaching staff in there. You know, if senior players want to leave, they must leave, you know, and really just start afresh, because you're at a new stadium, a new project, you got a new home. I think that's the only way we can really see Province now, from the mess that they're currently in, move forward. Because if you're taking baggage across from Newlands to Cape Town Stadium, I can just see more of the same happening.
It's just going to take longer to then try and fix it.
Yeah, definitely. But I think that there is no time to fix it, though. That's the because you look at it now. It's that, I think it's the Freedom Cup, or there's another competition, and then it's
the Rainbow Cup.
And then it's the Rainbow Cup. I think there's one cup competition first, the local teams, another one, and then into that Pro 16.
Oh yes, you're right.
Yeah, so it's like, what you call it. Is there time to fix it? Like, what do you do? I think I think also, like, everything's unknown at the moment. So like with the Rainbow Cup, no one knows what's happening. Is the Rainbow Cup then into the Pro 16, or is it? So I think everything's a bit unknown at the moment. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the move, and everything that's happening in the background. Because technically, like Currie Cup finishes, and in about 2-3 weeks time they play rugby again into another competition. You know, like, so it's actually like it's a bit chaotic at the moment.
Yeah, you don't have that traditional off season where you've got time to, you know, bring new people in, whether it be on the board or coaching
100%.
staff, and give them time to work with the players and that. So it could be tricky for them.
100%.
But the sad thing is, if you leave everything as it is, the dog show just becomes worse. So you're almost like you're in a catch-22 situation.
Yeah.
Do you leave the ship to sink the way it's sinking? Or do you make the changes and hopefully you bring in the people in that can maybe try and figure things out and help things out in a chaotic environment? So you might have to go for a more senior coach, you know, or more senior director of rugby, someone that can, you know, deal with chaos, and someone that can maybe steady the ship after a bit of chaos. I think we've seen it in football quite a lot, lads. Like sometimes when there's chaos around, there are those managers that can just, you know, settle the club down, settle everything down.
They basically need an Avram Grant to step in there.
So just
I think you guys have gone through every manager possible to do that. You've got
we've got them all on speed. I'm very surprised.
Goose Hiddink, Rafa Benitez. Like you've gone through the whole lot.
I'm surprised Goose Hiddink or Grant wasn't called in for this.
For the yeah.
But yeah, we almost need something like that in rugby, and I don't know who it is. I don't know who could do a job like that. It's tough because I mean we don't even have a lot of our own coaches, in the country. Like if you look at it, a lot of them are in the UK and they are coaching around the world. So it's almost like Province needs a bit of an old head again. Like you need like a Alan Solomons coming back into the union and of director of rugby. You need someone like an old head to come in and maybe just steady the ship a little bit. I don't see someone like a Gert Small doing it because the way things have gone pear-shaped with the board and things like that. I don't see him saying, I'm putting my neck. Like, I'm not putting my cock on the block here for this nonsense again. So, Province is in a really, really shitty situation. And it's going to be interesting to see how they get themselves out of it.
No, 100%. I agree with you. And also, it's also like a new season because now the season no longer ends in October. It ends in May. Because if you're in the Pro 16, you end in May and then they start again in end August. So it's sort of going to be a different off season because now at least you try and get through to May and then you we've gone through the Rainbow Cup and all of that. Okay, now what are you going to do next year? We got Pro 14, 16. Starting in a full season starting in September. Let's try and get a house in order now before we get going. I think now it's just so chaotic now because like no one knows what's happening. The processing could not happen because of COVID, and you don't know if this Freedom Cup's gonna happen because of it's just no, it's crazy.
I'd rather take Rassi back at Province than Alistair. He might be the savior we need right now.
Looking forward to this weekend's final. It is this weekend, right? Yeah. Sharks versus Bulls. Bulls at home. Do the Sharks stand a chance? Obviously, Cooks will think so.
Yeah, I do. I do. But listen, that Bulls side it's stacked. It's stacked. That's the big problem. Like I'm confident, and in the Sharks, like to pull off an upset. But like, listen, that Bulls side is stacked. They're playing well. They're good at home. They got flipping Dwayne Vermeulen, who's the cheat code, actually. Like, he shouldn't actually be allowed to play in the Curry Cup. Like, every time, like I was watching him last weekend, he was on cruise mode, and he's, like, the best player on the field. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, I'm just worried, like, this weekend he switches into test mode and just be like, okay, let me just switch into test mode for 80 minutes and then just gets, like, 5 turnovers and just, like, puts in a masterclass. And they got, like, Mornestein playing well. And so it's tough. But, I mean... Yeah, 100%. Like the Sharks' biggest thing, we have Cohen Bosch. We can probably kick it over from Joburg at this stage, the way he's kicking around your ball at the moment. So we sort of got him. And I think the last time we played them, we won. So that's the thing. That's that's the hope because we won the last time we played against them. But I just think final. They have so much experience. Great pack. Backline is firing. Got a cheat code in Dwayne Vermeulen. It's gonna be tough. Well,
we've got Jade here saying easy win, Bulls by 15. What do you reckon? What do you guys reckon? Any predictions? Any betting tips?
My head says Bulls by 6. My heart says Bulls by 2.
I'll say like Bulls by 8, around about there. I'll even have a look at see what the odds look like quickly. But I would say around about 8 would be. Oh, fuck! I had them by 8 this weekend and they pissed that away. So so let's. I'll quickly have a look for you. I'm just on the odds here, quick. And what's the handicap at the moment? So suck it. Bulls. They're saying Bulls by 6 seems to be the if you want on the minus 5.5, Bulls is 1.74.
Sure.
So I would say around about 6 to 8 points. I think you're looking at a good bet around there. I think you're getting your money's worth. Obviously, on the plus side, Sharks is plus 5.5 at 184. So on both sides, if you take in the plus or take in the minus, I think that's where you sort of like sitting around there.
I think I'll definitely bet on the Sharks. I'll definitely bet on the Sharks. Hopefully, I can make some money. I think I'll go for the underdog story.
Here's a cracker here. Sharks minus 0.5 at 3-1.
Yeah, I'll
to
take
win
that.
by 1 point. There we go.
I'll take that. Last one penalty.
One or more.
I won't
100%.
give any predictions, but I'll say this, that I do hope that the Sharks win. Purely just because no one likes the Blue Bulls.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Our default as Province fans.
Don't bet on that, people. Don't bet on that. Don't listen to me.
Our default as Province fans is Western Province, the Cheetahs is second, and the Sharks will always be our third side. You got to stick to the coastal team after that.
Yeah. So Keegan, speaking of betting, I do believe that you won some money on the fight this weekend as well.
I had five bets this weekend, and 2 out of the 5 landed. I had two 5 fights. I had 2 5-fight accumulators, and they both got chucked out on the first fight because Rebats, who was supposed to win that fight with pretty much ease, she got knocked the fuck out.
Yeah.
Okay, so there goes my 2 accumulators down the drain already. First card. Second, I did a double, which was I think it was Markev and Joanna, the Scottish chick. So they both won, so that one landed. And then I had Hooker TKO, because I just had this like funny feeling that I know I said on the podcast, I think I went Chandler on the podcast, but I was still like, I don't know if I'm willing to put money on that, even though I had this feeling, and I was like, nah, if I Hooker with a TKO was probably a flying knee or something, which he's pretty good at doing it now and then. That didn't go down well.
Yeah.
And then I was like, fuck it. I've changed left in my bank account. Let's just throw it on Dustin Poirier to knock McGregor, to TKO McGregor. And
you didn't go what round, right? You just said TKO win.
I can tell you, if I can find it here somewhere.
So I'm very glad that I didn't put any money on that card because
I just said Poirier TKO.
If you got second round, that would have been the perfect bet.
Oh,
I know that was like 26-1, I think. Second round TKO.
Sure.
Oh, that would have been perfect.
Yeah. So my money definitely would have been on a Hooker TKO as well, and Conor. I didn't really know how I felt about Conor winning. I thought he was going to win, but I wasn't sure whether it would go the distance or TKO. But regardless, I would have definitely lost money. Let's see what Jade says here.
In my accumulator, I had by decision. In my accumulators, I would have lost that heavily.
You lost that.
So Jade says, I don't know much about the UFC, but I know for sure that everyone on that card can easily move me. Jade, 100%. I don't know what you look like or how big you are, but yes.
All of us.
Even the females on these UFC cards would kick all of our ass, I think.
No, even the females, I'm petrified of Amanda Nunes, for example. Like if I had to see her, I think I'd run away.
I don't want to see her fight a guy. I swear she'll beat.
She'll beat most men in the UFC roster.
No, she's incredible. But Moses women's are. But it's so funny the fight on Sunday because I enjoy UFC. I'm not a big fan, so I normally know the main event guys. So now I normally wake up for the main event, and I just remember waking up and thinking, yes, can Conor come back? He hasn't fought in a while. But Conor always suckers me in when he walks into the ring because he always looks the part. You're like, okay,
yeah,
McGregor's winning this thing. he just like looks good, and then I'm just like it's the walk and everything. He gets me every time. Like you watch the fight preview before, you're like, I'm not sure. Dustin Poirier has been looking good, and then McGregor starts talking like, okay, Conor, I've got you. But jeez, that Dustin Poirier, that was impressive. That second,
I'll tell you.
One thing I did feel. Sorry, say that again, Keegan.
I got a funny feeling there when you said the walk, and I remember this funny feeling on Sunday morning is they showed him getting out of the car with his wife.
Yeah,
and he looked very fidgety. He looked like he got out the car and then he went back to the car. You know, he like walked back to the car. Like it's almost like he looked very fidgety, like he forgot something, or you know, like he had the feeling.
He just left his gum guard behind.
Yeah, but also like when he normally a fighter, it's all about him.
Yeah,
and like he was so all over the place, like he was fidgety. It was like almost like that nerves, like almost like he was like, oh fuck, I haven't done this in a while, and I'm probably not. He sells the story that it's the best McGregor you'll ever see, but like you would have seen to the date. But I'll be honest with you, like people have gotten so much better in the UFC. He forgets that the other fighters have gotten so much better. So much better.
One thing I did feel like, and I actually need to go watch, I haven't watched the fight again, but I really need to. But I got the feeling, because let's face it, the first round was all Conor. His stand-up was great. He came through Dustin quite a lot through his defense. The what do you call it? Not the grappling. The clinch, I thought Conor dominated for the most part. It was fucking funny though how they were both elbowing each other in the clinch.
I wouldn't say it was all Conor though, Ryan. I do think Conor edged it, but I don't think it was all Conor, because
not all Conor, but
that was definitely a 10-9 round.
Yeah.
But I do feel that like Dustin never looked unsettled. Like I didn't feel that he looked like he was flushed in the situation. And that takedown, he took McGregor down. He took him down with fucking ease. I mean, a guy that doesn't really take people down managed to take Conor down.
But Conor also got out of that very easily though.
But we all know in UFC the takedown gets you points, and he took him down.
Look, what I really want to say is I kind of got the feeling that Conor was holding back, and I also noticed that in the second round where he caught two of Dustin's kicks, where he had the opportunity to either take him down or, you know, really hurt the guy because he's got him by the leg. And I got the feeling that Conor wanted to almost toy with Dustin. And I think that was obviously his downfall, because it didn't fucking work out.
I don't think he trusts his ground game anymore. I think he's turned into a boxer. He's turned into a boxer these days. And I personally think that he doesn't feel that he can take anyone on the ground. He's in trouble if he goes onto the ground. He might be able to get out, but if someone pins him on the ground, I think he knows he's in trouble, because even the way that he moves a lot like a boxer now. Like Conor used to kick. Conor doesn't. He did that one spinning heel kick.
But then I was 100%.
No kicks.
Even the commentators saying
a lot. Sorry, say that again.
I said even the commentators, they also picked it up and they're saying Conor he's not kicking as much as he used to. He's just standing up and just boxing. And I think for me, I think with Dustin, I think the biggest thing is, because if you look in the first round, Dustin took some shots. He took some shots from, and for him, he's probably thinking, geez, I got through that first round, took some shots. The last time I was in the ring with Conor, I took some shots. It didn't end well for me. So now I can take this guy now. Yeah, exactly. So but he goes back and he's also going to think. So Dustin's also thinking, geez, this oak is not blocking any of my leg kicks, because Conor didn't block any of the leg kicks.
No.
And then he's probably thinking, geez, listen, if I keep kicking him and the chance comes, I've got him. And that's what happened. Because I think, because I felt that it was a 10-9 round to Conor, but I'd rather be in Dustin's corner. It was one of those ones where he may have lost the round, but he left it thinking, you know what? Okay, I could be onto something here. Yeah.
I think he got way more out of that round. And I totally agree with you there, Cooks, because I was when you look at it, like if I'm Dustin, I go back and sit down and be like, I took him down with ease. So if I need to take him down, I'll take him down again. I probably won't submit him, but I can at least get some points taking him down. Dustin takes a lot of shots. We've seen it in a lot of fights. Him and the Hooker fight, they were trading off like crazy. Him with Max Holloway, they trade off like Dustin's got a fucking chin. You don't just knock Dustin Poirier down. He's not the kid that Conor knocked out. He's got a chin now.
Even if you think back at the first fight, that wasn't a if I can call it a proper knockout, you know. He clipped him sort of with almost a mishit or mistime shot over the head, and that's what got him. It wasn't his chin going, and then the only problem was he wasn't defending himself when he went down, and it called a fight. So even though it's a TKO, it's not really a your traditional knockout. And I think just getting back to the kicks is what Conor always does well with his kicks is that allows him to keep his distance from the opponent, because they know if they come in too close, he's got that kick in his arsenal. And we saw now what happens. Doesn't kick. Dustin thought, cool, I can actually get in here, and he got in close where he's got his dirty boxing that he does so well, and boom, Conor doesn't have a leg to stand on, literally. Fight over. So I think, look, I'm pissed off, obviously, that Conor didn't win, but I love Dustin Poirier. No, I don't think anyone can hate him. And I think, in my opinion, he's the UFC champ at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's hard to, like, my thing is, let me ask you guys, where does Conor go from here in terms of, because you can't put him in a title fight. You can't, so who does he fight next, and because obviously he needs to fight. That's the biggest thing. He needs to fight. I don't think Khabib, for example, like, he's probably thinking like, I don't need to come back for this. Like, I'm not gonna, like, why should I come back and fight Conor now? I beat Dustin Poirier. He can beat Dustin.
I think Khabib's definitely most certainly done. Conor doesn't, in my opinion, deserve a instant rematch with Poirier, because I just don't feel that he deserved it. I think Diaz fight number 3 is probably next for him, and then I think once he gets that, so he wants that at lightweight. Once he beats that, he beats him, by then we'd have a champion. Then Conor probably needs one more fight before he can get the title, or title shot at least.
The thing is, I think if he fights, I agree with Ryan. I think he has to go somewhere far. He has to go somewhere far out the division for now. Because if he loses to any of those top 5, if he loses to Gaethje, Oliveira, Ferguson, or Dan Hooker, his legacy is fucked in the UFC.
Yeah, no, 100%.
He's closer to retirement than ever. Like, if one of those 4 knock him out, that's him done. In for me,
the problem is that then drops him down to about probably 7th in the division, which means 3-4 fights possibly
until he gets
get back to the top.
So for me, if I'm Conor, if you actually passionate and you want to be in the game, still, because then you got to go and probably get that Diaz 3 fight. I think that would make sense. If you ballsy enough to go fight fucking Tony Ferguson or Justin Gaethje or something like that, and you see your ass there, I think that's his time in the UFC probably done. So it's a tough one. I think for him, clever. If I was in his corner, part of a management thing, I would be saying, listen, if you want to be part of this, you want to be part of the UFC still, take that Nate Diaz fight. That's the one you probably want. Or maybe Max Holloway. Max Holloway fight could be interesting, but do we really want to see Max take Volkanovski? We wanted to see Max
Max is not effective enough, in my opinion, at 155, and there's no way Conor drops to 145. I think another possible option, if Conor starts to notice that, look, maybe the lightweight title is, not going to happen again. I think there's an option of him fighting at 170, purely just picking fighters and making money, picking the likes of maybe a fucking Covington or someone getting that'll be a big fight just because of the trash talk, even a Masvidal maybe, and just purely going for entertainment value and money, because we know even if Conor loses his next 4 or 5 fights, if he gets that many, he's still going to cash in and people are still going to watch.
But do you
think with pride, though, he won't hang around for that long? I think if he takes another loss, that pride will hurt too much. I don't see that, fortunately.
But also, like, if he keeps losing, his box office value goes down. Do you know what I mean? So, like, if
I don't think so. I don't think Connor's does, to be honest.
Because the thing is, the UFC, for example, like, so if you're Dana White, and let's say he fights a top 5 guy, he fights Gaethje or someone and loses again, you can legitimately say, like, can you have him as a main eventer? Because he's lost. So then what happens now? He's in the situation of, like, okay, cool, my legacy is getting tarnished. Yeah, now I've lost. Now he's lost 5. I think it's 5 or 6 fights, and it's like, you lose again, he goes down to 6. Could lose Nate Diaz a second time. It's 7 losses. Then you're thinking, how do I? And now you start him on the trash talk or maybe the redemption story. But I think you want the mystique to go.
He almost becomes a Masvidal. He like almost becomes a Masvidal where
But I think he draws the same crowds. Well, probably not quite as much, but I think he'll still draw the more crowds than probably anyone else, even if he goes that route. I've got that feeling.
My thing is this, though: he doesn't need, like, if you lose another fight, you're going, well, my reputation is going down the shitter right now, and I don't need to fight because
I don't think he will. I don't think he will stick around after another loss or 2. But I think he probably.
I'm going to be honest with you.
Goes and does a couple of boxing matches. Hopefully, smashes that fucking Jake Paul idiot.
I would pay money to watch that, just for him to smash him. Like,
but they shouldn't even do it. You should just rock up at his house and just fucking move.
I actually think that Manny Pacquiao fight's in trouble now with Conor. I honestly think it's in trouble.
I read Manny Pacquiao's got Pacquiao's got a fight now, I think.
Oh, does he?
I read somewhere. I don't quote me on this. I'm not sure how legit the source was, but I saw that he did get a fight now. So they were also saying that it's probably off.
Yeah, the reason why I say it's off is, like, Manny Pacquiao, who we know and we've all grown up to, him knocking the shit out of people in a boxing ring.
Yeah.
Now he looks at a guy like Conor and goes, mate, you just got knocked out. You literally got knocked out in your own sport. Now you come into a sport where you're not really uno duno. What I've done to people and what Pacquiao's done to people is embarrass people.
Yeah.
So I think there's also now some of those boxing things, those avenues I won't say closed forever, because nothing gets closed forever.
Yeah.
But I do think they faded a little bit. But I would pay very fucking good money to see Conor knock the shit out of that Jake Paul lightning.
Yo, jeez. Like, I'll be lining up to. Like, I even try to get a flight to the States to go watch him more than actually.
So, one thing that I also wanted to touch on and hear your guys' thoughts is, I read today that Conor got 6 months suspension for this fight, medical suspension, which I think is way too much.
Jeez, that's hectic.
Well, how fucked up is he?
Yeah, sure.
He's not. It's just, remember, okay, his leg's fucked, but that's not a 6 month thing. And you get suspensions for basically just for head injuries. And I just didn't. I mean, he wasn't even unconscious. I was thinking I think it was a 3 months. Well, should have been a 3 month suspension, because now that already puts his plans on the back foot because he wants to fight 3-4 times this year.
Yeah, if you're out for 6 months, you're not gonna fight 3 fights in 6 months in the year.
No, you'll be lucky if you fight twice.
Yeah,
Because you still
Yeah,
got to
that's a
start
little-
camping.
That's a little rough, that.
All right, so let's chat about Frank Lampard.
I'm going to leave this to you guys.
you know
Yeah, Cook,
what? Actually,
your
what
thoughts on that?
after the Leicester game, to be honest with you, I saw it coming. I just thought we were so poor, and watching that Leicester game, it's just. I remember I watched the first half and I went to bed, saying like we're not going to come back from this. We don't look like we're going to score. We don't look like anything's happening. Then the next day I woke up and I watched the second half and nothing had changed. It felt like we were going to lose 4 or 5-0, then actually score, and it just felt like we've seen when the manager's about to go that you can just see the writings on the wall. And I think I saw it coming. I think I still said to a friend of mine that I wouldn't be surprised before Valentine's Day that Frank Lampard would be jobless. I said I called it, and then I just think I don't know. I think it's not. My thing is I'm not looking at Frank Lampard like the Chelsea legend and what he's done for the club. I look at in terms of I judge him as other Chelsea managers and how we operate. We fired managers for less, much less. Ancelotti won the double, and the next year he got fired, and we came second to United and lost the Champions League quarterfinals, and he got fired because he was fired. So I look at it now. So it's like with the board and unfortunately Chelsea is not a club where we want to rebuild by coming 7th, 8th. We want to rebuild but still play in the Champions League, and if you can't deliver that, then Chelsea will look for a new club. I think one thing is with Chelsea is we back ourselves to find a new manager. That's something we do. We always find a manager. So I just think, after the Leicester game, I thought Frank Lampard's time was the writing was on the wall. I'm sad. I think I'm sad because it's Frank Lampard, but also another part of me is like, if it was a Maurizio Sarri, it'd probably be like, I think it's probably he's probably going a lot less sympathetic.
Yeah, I must say for me, I understand why he's fired. Like you said, anyone else, we would have been like, cool. We would have called for his head probably before this already. The only problem that I have is I really felt that given time he would have performed.
Yeah.
I would love to know what really went down in terms of his connection with the players, because I know there's a lot of rumors around and whatever, which I don't really prescribe to, but I do feel that somewhere he did lose some of the players at least. If you look at just the last couple of games, again, it was like the like Provinces weekend where you can just see they don't want to play. Which obviously makes it super difficult for a manager because you can get your tactics and everything spot on, and it's still going to be a fuck up.
100%.
But I really wished that we would have given him to the end of the season. I thought what he did last year showed that he is a good manager, and I feel like a lot of people forget what he managed to do last year with no transfers, no anything. And I think also if you just look on social media, the players that reached out after the sacking, it's all last year's players, all the youngsters, academy boys, and I think they all going to take a huge knock with him not being there.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think it's does the like what happens now to the project? Does the academy project, what do you call it? Does it fall away? Does it? But I just think, I think for me, it's tough because I think also him not being experienced sort of it didn't help him at a stage. I just think like him not being an experienced manager, because at the end of the day we got to be honest with ourselves and remember that if we didn't have a transfer ban and all of that, Frank Lampard would not have been on the short list to get a Chelsea job. You wouldn't be nowhere near the short list to get a Chelsea job last season if you look at the circumstances. You wouldn't even you would have been last on the list. He'd be coaching for a year, but because at the end of the day, like who would have taken a Chelsea job last year? You lose your best player. You know in the Champions League you have a transfer ban. You're not gonna go to Allegri and all these dogs and be like, and Pochettino will be like, hey, do you want to come to Chelsea?
Yeah.
And like, our team's falling apart and we just got kids. Are you keen to take us? They'll laugh at you and be like, no, sorry, I'll wait for Real Madrid, for Zidane or someone to get fired. Whereas like now, and I think that's the reality of the situation we're going to look at. And I did see where, I think the board was like, you can give until the end of the year, but they didn't see things changing. And to be honest with you, I couldn't also see the results turning around as well. I was trying to figure out, like, geez, how are we going to turn this around with us being ninth? West Ham is playing better football than us.
Even when we did win a game here or there, which has mostly been against championship teams in the FA Cup, we still played shit. Like this weekend, we got the win, fair enough, but
100%.
It was a horrible game to watch.
Yeah, 100%. What do you think, Higgs, on the happy side of life?
Listen,
Keegs is just happy that Ole outlived Frank, and now it's between Ole and Arteta.
Listen, yeah, Oaks. We coached by a PE teacher, and he's just showing you guys how to do things. So, just gonna put that out there.
Yeah.
Listen, yeah, I feel for Frank, but I also don't feel for Frank because, as a player at that club and knowing what other managers have gone through, he should have known. You know what you're stepping into.
Yeah.
Especially with Roman owning that club, there's no such thing as.
He does know that. He's said that multiple times. He was
but this is why I say I think like you can feel for him, but you also can't feel for him because he knew what he was getting into.
Yeah.
I honestly don't think the signings helped him a lot. Saying that to do what you've done with a squad of players and just, I know Chelsea people are going to say, yeah, but did he really spend 200 million because we made profits on all these fucking players or whatever? At the end of the day, he spent 200 million. At the end of the day, 200 million was spent.
Yeah.
Okay. And for what you're getting in return with those players, none of those players look any better than when they've walked in the door on day one. And I think that puts added pressure on any manager, not just Frank, but if any manager had to do that in the Premier League, that instantly puts pressure on you. Yeah. Now, I also start to wonder a lot is the first thing I go to is, were all those players, is that who Frank really wanted, or was that board, buying players? Because I also, in any football situation, I always wonder, did the manager really back that transfer? Or or was it just like one of these impulse buys from the board, knowing that we could get
Chelsea's board is known to just do whatever the fuck they want. You look at even Abramovich himself sometimes just handpick someone and buy.
So I look at it, and this is where I said, I think the last time we won Cooks, I asked like, some of these signings just didn't make sense to me because like no one's a specialist in positions. Every one of these new players can play 5 different positions, and Frank always seems to try to figure out what's the best position for this guy. How do I fit this player in?
Yeah,
and I agree with Alex. Is Abramovich is problematic. Like today he'll be your friend, tomorrow he wants to see a knife in your back, and the
problem with that is it's also not as black and white as that, because even though Abramovich obviously does have his issues and his problems, he's also made us into a super successful outfit.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I think
from the outside, it's easy to say that he is a problem, but it's like he's a problem, but he's also not a problem.
Yeah, but my thing with the Abramovich thing, what I always say is why I say he's not a problem, because Abramovich says, okay, you guys on my case, I'll fire managers left, right, and center, but since I've taken over the club, there's 5 league titles. There's 6 FA Cups. There's all these trophies. There's a Champions League, 2 Europa Leagues. So does my system actually work? Good. And he says, go to another club. I'll be your owner for 15 years, and I'll give you 5 league trophies. And most clubs will take that and run and be like, okay, cool. So he's saying, I have my model as the owner. You know what you're coming into when you take this job is you have to win now. If you don't win now, then you're out of here. It's very simple as that. It's Chelsea's not, for example, I saw a stat saying Frank Lampard's record is better than Klopp's record at the same time, and Liverpool were 8th, and he still kept the job. But like, and someone asked, would Abramovich have fired Klopp if that's the situation? I'm like, yeah, he would have, because Abramovich says if you can rebuild, but rebuild and at least keep us in the Champions League. Like that's the minimum requirement.
We don't know. It's easy to make that comparison. And I've also seen people going on about Alex Ferguson, where you know, when he started out, and they gave him time and whatever. But at the end of the day, we don't know what the discussion is. We don't know what's been said in terms of, okay, cool, we will give you 3 years regardless of results. Which probably happened in Klopp's case. Whereas in Lampard's case, it was most likely finish top 4 or else.
But that's why I say, like, in Lampard's case, I think what probably done him in the most was that money, that spending that money, that 200 mil. Because at the end of the day, let's be fair, Roman has backed all his managers with cash.
100%.
So you live by the sword, you die by the sword. You want to go and spend all this money and that, you got to deliver. Because I've invested 200 million into your squad, you got to deliver. And that's where I say, like, as soon as that money was spent, I don't care what anyone says about this. As soon as that money was spent, that's added pressure from the get-go. It's got nothing to do with players but still
ride in the first season.
100%. You can say till the cows come home, players still need to get used to the league and settle. His job as the manager is to get those players to settle 100%. As quickly as possible. Okay. And he spent the money. He spent some of that money, whether it was all the money or some of it. He had his hand in it, and that adds extra pressure to it. And some managers, the best managers in the world, can thrive under that pressure and make things better. And managers that are still trying to find their trade, they're either going to just pull it off, or they're going to, unfortunately, it's sink or swim. And unfortunately, 100%. I think for Frank, it was a sink situation, because you're sitting with high quality players, not looking any better, and also those players haven't come to Chelsea to sit on the bench as much as you think. So they all came from clubs where they were starting week in and week out, and guess what? Those clubs were playing Champions League football as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think also the writing on the wall is what do you call it? The writing on the wall is, so Chelsea. So my thing is, my goal coming to the season was to close the gap, and Chelsea's goal between City and Liverpool. So City and Liverpool, they've dropped this year compared to other years when they're normally like 644 points clear by now. So it's like they've dropped. So now we're in the mix, and like, you know, everyone is in the mix, and then like the board goes, but like we're 9th or 10th now. We're 10th, and if you look at United, for example, like United, with the same number of points as United in the last season, we spent more than United in the transfer window. United just gone. They just getting results and doing well and find themselves at the top of the table. And now the board's looking, geez, like we did more. We spent more money than these dogs. We like this, what you call it? We're in the same points as them. Liverpool has dropped form. City has dropped form. But now we're 10th now. So something's not adding up.
We can't even fuck, what's the word I'm looking for? We can't even benefit off their
100%, yeah. The 100%.
This should have been our opportunity to leapfrog all of them.
Exactly. Because we don't know next year. We don't know if next year Liverpool, I don't know, signs Mbappe and everyone is fit and they don't lose a game again next year. And then City don't lose a game next year. They sit back and go, oh shit.
5 billion rand, 5 billion whatever fucking pounds, and buy 3 squads. And
exactly.
Something like that.
Yeah, and then you sit there and you go, oh geez, last year we had a chance and we finished 8th. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what the board is saying. Like, oh, we had a chance and we finished 8th. So that's
just looking at what what Alex is asking if we think Tuchel. Well, how do you pronounce his surname? Tuchel.
I think Tuchel.
Whether he'll do well with the squad or whether he'll bring in reinforcements. I'll be honest with you. I don't know a whole bunch about this guy. I've read up a little bit on him, and I've seen that he's a difficult guy to work with at times. But I'm pretty sure what we'll definitely see in the next couple of weeks, at least, is that typical reinvigoration when the new manager comes. So we'll probably go and win 5-0 tonight, and that's just going to piss me off. But yeah, I don't think we'll bring in much reinforcements right now. I think we'll play the season out. And yeah, I'm very happy that they only signed him on 18 months because I think that's just a good idea in general for a club that hires him. Well, that's fine. At least
the 18 months. The 18-month thing, the 18-month thing scared me. I just think sometimes, like, if you find a manager, you give him give him 3-4 years immediately, you know. So now, I rate Tuchel. I think he's a good manager. What he's done with Dortmund and PSG and all of that, but I don't know. It's going to be tricky. I just think when I saw he got 18 months, it almost looked like he's you're on trial. And I think you're on trial. Get through this season, and then we'll see what you do next season, and then we'll see from there. It looked like that sort of thing. And I think it's a wait and see for me. Wait and see. I think he will be good. I got faith in. I think the way he plays football will be good. I think tactically we'll be a lot better. I think we're struggling a bit at the end, trying to force that 4-3-3, and then Frank changed it up at the end, but the writing was on the wall then. So I think So I think tactically we'll be better, and it's going to be interesting to see how it goes.
I'm going to be honest, from an outsider's point of view, who's watched Tuchel's Dortmunds and that, I think it ends in tears, lads. I'm going to be honest with you. I can't see it working out at Chelsea. And you could see it at PSG. It was a fucking shit show when he was there. Yeah. PSG weren't the dominant PSGs like under Blanc and, a few of the others, the Ancelottis and that. Like, he's a tough fucking character to deal with. There's a lot of infighting in every place where he's ended up.
But I think that's a big part of why they only wanted to give him 18 months to start off with, because they know he's hard to work with.
Yeah.
Listen, I've seen some French papers, and I saw some French papers and things. They say he's not there in Chelsea by November. He said he'll be gone before November, saying.
But a big thing, I was reading articles about him. They were saying, I think the difference is like there's no Neymar, Mbappe to deal with. Like there's no, because they were saying like when you get players like that, your plans sort of fall out the window when the board comes to you and goes, hey, here's Mbappe and Neymar, fine, do something. Then it's like, no, but I don't play with two strikers up front. Here's Neymar and Mbappe, do something. And you're like, no, but I like this formation. Like, and they come to you, here's Neymar and Mbappe. Whatever you want to play, you play it. You sort of find a way. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how he works with a younger squad, where I think he can put his stamp more on a group of youngsters than he can at like PSG, for example, when Neymar walks in and it's sort of, and the sporting director is saying to you, if Neymar wants to play on the wing, put him on the wing. I don't care what you do, but Neymar's playing on the wing.
If he wants to play goalkeeper today, then you play him.
And then you have what you call like.
My thing with him is I would love to see what he's going to do in a much competitive league, because
that's going to be interesting.
He was in a farmers league. Let's be honest with you.
Yeah.
Okay. And in Germany, he only had to compete with Bayern.
Yeah.
During his time as Dortmund coach, he only had to deal with Bayern. The rest,
100%. Yeah.
The rest were fucking dog at that point in time. Yeah. There was no real competition. It was him and Bayern. So I'm very, very interested to see what he does and how he handles the pressure in a league where, like, we've got Sheffield United tonight, and I know for a fact that they've lost. They've got 1 point, but we know that's not an easy game. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
that's the game you don't want to play.
Well, I have money in that game. So can you please make it an easy game, please?
But this is where I'm wondering
what Mike Garrett's saying here is, I think that's exactly what we also agree with, that We're not
Yeah.
happy with it, but we understand it. And then just before we wrap it up, just a quick comment here from Jason, asking whether we think the sponsors played a part in the decision. Yeah, sponsors don't get involved in decisions like this.
No, not too much. No.
They don't give a shit about.
I think they make money. There. They make money regardless. To be fair, they just want to see they just want to see the 3 logo on every weekend. Then they're happy. They're just like, as long as that 3 logo on a Wednesday, Saturday, Sunday, then you do whatever.
They might help you sign a player because they'll be like, oh, that player is part of my brand. If it's a Nike player, if it's an Adidas player, and you're sponsored by them, like we saw with Pogba and Adidas. They will jump on board and probably help you finance something, but I don't believe they have any say in these decisions.
No, the problem is they've got no leverage in the decision of firing a manager because they've got a contract with the club for X amount of years, which whether you win or lose, that a club's never going to write a clause or put a clause into a contract like that saying, oh, if we don't finish top 10, you can fucking pull the sponsorship.
Fuck, then I hope Chevrolet had nothing to do with us getting David Moyes in the get-go. I did have something to say.
No, that would have been some American coach then.
Hey, I'm all for Tom Brady to come and fucking coach us.
Yeah, I still think David Moyes was Fergie's parting gift to be like, look how great I am. I'm gonna let Moyes to do it, and then just so you appreciate me in my retirement. Like cheerio, like deal with Moyes for a bit.
Yeah,
our owners own the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so
Jesus, you're smiling.
We can get that whole fucking coaching staff to come to United, and we'll take Brady and Gronk as well.
I'm guessing.
Brady's still got about 10 years of playing time left, so he's still gonna be playing for quite a while.
Apparently, Brady's doing the team talk on the last weekend of the season. If you're still up for the league title, you should
come on, man,
via Zoom.
I'm all in for that.
That's what I would do.
I'm putting money on the Bucks as well.
Let's wrap this up. I know we didn't get to any cricket, but let's see how this test plays out.
Game's not done yet.
Let's see how this game plays out, and then we'll definitely chat some cricket next week. It's 20 minutes to kick off. Enjoy the games tonight, and may Sheffield and Chelsea win.
For the first time ever, I need United to win. Actually, that's why I hate betting. Betting ruins my. Yeah. now I'm like I want Sheffield to win, and then I want United to win because I need to make some money. So I'm like,
January is now.
A pleasure. Thanks everyone for tuning in.
Thanks for having me, guys.
For all the lacquer comments.
Thanks everybody.
Remember to subscribe to our YouTube. I think we're almost up to 100 subscribers now. So it's going low and slow, but we'll get there. And lacquer, have a good evening, gents, and we'll see you guys next week.
Yes.
Okay. Cheers, guys.
Awesome. Cheers, lads.